Welcome to the Wolfkeeper, a show that's just about everything that you can maybe think about, everything that you can feel that's inside of your heart. What I need for you to do right now is spend the next hour relaxing. Just stop your day before you go into 12 o'clock. And I just want y'all to close your minds, open your hearts, and relax and go on this journey with me. It's a beautiful place that you're about to go, because I want to make you feel, I want to just open you up and think about some things you never really thought about right now. The Wolfkeeper. Come on. Good morning, y'all. Come on. It's the Wolfkeeper show. Get ready. Come on, let's go. Yeah. Woo. Yeah. It's the Wolfkeeper show. Your boy, Tricia Sanzoni. Yeah. Chanelly Nell. My boy Tyrone Scott somewhere rocking the Doogie Dogs. Denzel's in his house. Shacky Shack. And for all the people out there that love us, we love you back. Thank you all. Get ready for an amazing show with the Wolfkeeper. Get ready. Here we go. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Trish, how you feel?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Can I tell you one thing first and foremost before we even get started? You have the most Hollywood name that I know, Trish Montgomery. Like that, I feel like, hi, I'm Bond, James Bond. I feel like Montgomery.
I'm Tricia Montgomery and you're not.
Is that your real last name?
What was that?
Is that your real last name?
No, it's Montgomery is my married name. Yeah.
Montgomery,
right. My maiden name was Hoffman. So. Hoffman.
I knew a lot of Hoffmans in Bozeman, Montana.
We were from Cape Girardeau, Missouri.
But Montgomery just makes, Tricia Montgomery. It's so official. It's like, I feel like it's a James Bondish type of vibe.
Thank you. I'm feeling the James Bond vibe right now.
So you're down, where are you at?
I'm out of Columbus, Georgia right now.
Columbus, Georgia.
Georgia on my mind. I love it.
Have you adapted any Georgia accents of words yet?
No, other than bless your heart and hey y'all, I think that's about all that I've got. Like bless your heart, that keeps coming up.
Because after a while, when you're in the South, just certain words are going to sneak in there, without a doubt. My whole family's from New Orleans, and just certain words, like they don't say pop, they say cold drink.
Good morning. Happy Monday. How are you guys?
They say hey y'all. That's something that they say a lot is hey y'all.
South, they call everything a Coke in the South, right? They don't say soft drink, everything's Coke. Or they don't say pop. They call every soft drink as a Coke.
They say pop or soda, or I think it's pretty much just like something like, it's more just like Southernisms, things like that.
Southernisms.
So Southernisms, like there's Dognisms, but they have Southernisms as well.
I love it. So right now, is it true? Because it's a rhetorical question, but how true is it? Because I know I talk to people in New York, I know here in Chicago, my friends in California. Is it true that shelters are at an all-time low?
So right now, we are not having any issues adopting out dogs. We really are, we're associated with Columbus Animal Care and Control. And so we're at capacity all the time for adopting, for transporting, for fostering.
Okay.
Simply because of our relationship with the city and other shelters as well. But right now, because of COVID and people being home and that companionship is taking away the loneliness, and the dogs are our best friends, people are adopting, they're fostering. We can't keep them in the shelter enough. In fact, we've got a transport going up today to Erie, Pennsylvania.
Wow.
We talked about this. Yeah, in the South, we've got too many dogs. In the North, they don't have enough. So every week we're transporting, 15 to 20 dogs that have already found their forever homes. We're doing that on a weekly basis with our embarking on a new journey, our transportation van.
I love that, embarking. And I'm sorry, I just went right into it because I'm fat. I'm for real. Montgomery, that's my favorite last name. So I didn't give you a proper introduction because you're one of the top just presidents of CEOs that can run a shelter, because that is no joke. In 20 years, I've seen many come and go. I think I can be an outside consultant for anyone that can run a shelter. You're doing God's work. It's a whole different kind of individual, because a lot of times people think you're just dealing with dogs all day, but you're not just dealing with dogs all day. You know what I mean? So you're dealing with animals, and anything can come through your doors. So can you just give your title and what you do so the world knows?
So I'm CEO for Paws Humane Society out of Columbus, Georgia. We're one of the largest no-kill shelters in Georgia. We call it Yes Safe. And we have been instrumental in keeping Columbus Animal Care and Control at a Yes Safe for a year and a half now. So we're really trying to make Georgia that Yes Safe state, so there is no euthanasia. Along with that, we also have a veterinary clinic associated with Paws. And so we're a low-cost spay neuter clinic. We also have a wellness initiative too, so people can come in that may not have a lot of money, that may be in need, and we provide wellness examinations, vaccinations at a lower cost for them. We have 2 veterinarians on staff. We have a Pets for Life program, and this is something of just incredible. And I know Chicago's got one as well. Pets for Life is where you go into the neighborhoods of impoverished neighborhoods, and we'll go out and canvass into those impoverished neighborhoods, and we'll find out the people that need the pets the most and need to hold on to those pets. And so we'll help them out with food, with medications, with transporting their animals back and forth to our clinic to take care of those animals, to keep those pets in the home. That's so important to keep pets and people together. We have a TNR program, which is TNR, which means trap, neuter, release. That's our community cat program. We go out into these neighborhoods, and we're actually trapping cats. And we're bringing them back, spaying and neutering them, and then we're bringing them back to those neighborhoods to their community cat program. We have an incredible amount of programs here to help and assist We have one of the most outstanding volunteer programs as well. We're run on volunteers. We may have 69,000 hours in 1 month of volunteers that assist in running our organization. We've got about a staff of 50 underneath me, and love what we do. But because of my background, we're not just focused on pets, we're focused on people. And that's really important because we want to make sure that as we go forward, that we're educating the people about their pets. And we're talking about health and wellness. We're talking about, education of vaccinations and spaying and neutering and wellness, and really transforming the language of where we are right now. But we are the leader in the Chattahoochee Valley for as a leader for Paws Humane Society.
Wow, and and as you're speaking, you're running this down, because people that don't know our industry, they don't know how rough and tough it is to be the general in front of that kind of army, because just on the volunteering by itself, because sometimes you might have people that want to do it, but not consistently. They're not there on the bad days. They're there on the good days. They only want to deal with the puppies. They don't want to deal with the aggressive dogs. They didn't know that a raccoon's going to come in. They didn't know that a squirrel was going to come in. They didn't know that a crying person that's super sad. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you could do a TV show about working at animal care controls anywhere. How did you get to that point? Like, what's your background? When did you become into the doggy world?
I've been in the doggy world since about 1991. So I first started with the Chicago Veterinary Medical Association as their public education director, and then as their executive director. And then I went on to start Canine Fit Club, was a programs and clubs for both people and dogs all across the nation. And have about 80 clubs across the nation operating independently, and from Canada to the US to all across the nation. And it's all about the programs that keep us healthy and well, from Namaste Stay, Bow Boot Camp, Begging for Beginner, all of that recognized by IABC, CCPDT, National Association of Sports Medicine. So really received those certifications from the University of Tennessee for developing those programs. And then it was always my goal to really lead a humane association and animal rescue group. That was my career goal. And I started getting courted for this position along with a couple of others. And I came to Columbus because I went to University of Alabama. Roll Tide.
University of Alabama.
And that was it. And I loved it. Really fell in love with it. And I thought, here can I make the most impact, the most difference.
Wow.
This was Columbus. And I tell you what, from the city, we're an Army base, Fort Benning's here. But it's really a phenomenal community. And just, there's so many opportunities for us here in a middle-sized market, as opposed to being in a larger market, that I can accomplish so much more here and make an impact here on the town, the community, and really in Georgia right now. So, with COVID, with hurricane season right now, serving on the Georgia Emergency Management Association as well, because Hurricane Isaias just came through, and so there's a lot of things happening that people don't really think about in the South. In the North, you got snow. South, you got a little bit of hurricanes.
A little bit of hurricane. Tricia, I gotta back you up, because you just said so many things, mind explosions that I had, because we know each other from Fit Dog World, and mutual friend Lance Hoya, who's my trainer, who's former top international rugby player who used to beat my butt, and he introduced me to you, because you guys are all, that's when I met you guys, and you are all some of the most fit, in shape human beings that I'd ever seen before. And then you brought fitness into the dog world. Can you tell us about Fit Dog?
So it was Canine Fit Club, and what we did was we combined workouts for people and dogs, but we set standards, so there were dual programs for both person and dog. So we worked with Dr. David Levine from the University of Tennessee. We worked with just many people and Jackie Schimmel and all these amazing people who looked at the dogs, looked at the person, and found a way to do it safely. So it was really parallel programs for both humans and their canines, and how to do it safely. We talked about, we worked, because of my background in the veterinary community and the veterinary profession. It was super important to have information out there related to contagious diseases, zoonosis, proper cleanup and elimination. If you are in an inside environment and you are working out, how can you keep it safe for both person and pet? And that's what we did. And so really proud of that and where it's gone. Now other people have started it, other people have done things, but it's all about keeping people fit with their dogs. And there's no better workout companion than your dog. They're going to keep you well and healthy. They're not going to cancel on you. They're never going to have a hangover. They're never going to go, oh man, I can't make it. You know, they're always waiting for you at that door with a leash in their mouth saying, let's get up, go get up and move, you know, get off your butt and work out your butt. So since I've been here into Paws Humane Society, we have implemented novice sit-stay classes for our staff and the people here within our area. And it's such a great plus. We work with Christopher Wolfkeeper from the Art of Yoga, who's instructed in Canine Fit Club, that comes in here and the difference between people and dogs and how the dogs calm down and just become so soothing and provide that benefit. And I know you do this too, so it's just phenomenal to see the reaction between people and dogs, how they're working together and things like that. There's nothing better in the world. And it makes you just like chills, like, wow, this is happening.
You're giving me
that's pretty cool.
You're giving me chills. I mean, Chanel, when I met Trish, and I'm not even exaggerating, this guy Lance Hoya, because I was just every time he was introducing me more and more people that were just in fitness, like, because that's a whole mindset. And I just love when I met you guys and you introduced like fitness and dogs. I've always said that, you know, that dogs want to run, they want to jump, they want to climb, they want to crawl, you know, and dogs keep us in shape. So when and people are always struggling, like, how do I stay in shape? Going to the gym, like you said, your dog's not going to cancel on you. They wake up in the morning, they want to go outside. They don't care about the rain, they don't care about the snow. Most dogs, they want to go outside. What are some things, I just want to talk about fitness for a while, because right now a lot of people, you know, are really having a tough time with COVID. You know, some people truly don't want to go outside at all.
Absolutely.
Here in Chicago, just last night, we had more looting. So I've been getting tons of text messages about people saying, hey, you know, are you okay? You safe? Like, stay inside today. That's been the trending text message I've been getting on, stay inside today. But, you know, I have dogs, I have to get out and about. What are some things that people that could do inside to work out with their dogs if they just can't get out or in their yard?
Absolutely. I mean, you could go into walking lunges, you can go into plank poses, you can go into, you know, canine crunches where you're coming up and you're giving your dog a kiss and you're going to side to side and doing oblique crunches. Anything that you do, you can incorporate your dog into. Just make sure the dog is, if it's hot outside, make sure they have plenty of water. Obviously, if you can, make sure you check with your veterinarian to make sure that they have plenty of water and not plenty of water, that they got the care that they need and they're okay to exercise. I think some veterinarians are even doing telehealth appointments right now, but getting them up and moving because they need that mental and physical stimulation right now. You've got to do that because just like us, I think during the pandemic, so many people just kind of not lost it, but it was a question of all of a sudden our routines were disrupted. And the workouts that we enjoy, the things that we enjoy doing, we can't do that anymore. Or, you know, and some people still can't do it because the gyms are still closed. How do you do that? But doing things at your home right now, we're actually, Canine Fit Club is on Burnalong. It's an app, and you can follow along and you can do exercises with us online right now through the Burnalong app via Canine Fit Club. But it's at-home exercises. You know, you can squats, you can do crunches, you can do abs. You can do hop-alongs, you can do hop-overs, you can do side shuffles. There's so many things that you can do. You can take paper plates and move them. If you're somebody who can't exercise right now, and you may be challenged or in some way, or you may be in a chair or in a wheelchair, you can still do things with your dog by utilizing your arms and throwing a ball. You know, think about, you know, going in and playing fetch with your dog, things like that, reaching in and grabbing into the mailbox, things like that. There's all kinds of things if you get your brain working.
And that's so important because you just mentioned dogs need that stimulation. They just can't be in, you know, sitting in the house doing nothing. So I love that, throwing the ball, even, you know, putting the leash in your hand, going side to side with the leash in your hand.
Exactly.
Playing with the leash like a medicine exercise handball, filling the leash in your hand. You got to do something where you're interacting physically with the dog. Let me ask you this. So with COVID, we've seen, I want to just jump into like adoptions because so many people that are adopting dogs for the first time, and tons of people are adopting shelter dogs. And I always tell people that's like adopting a child. You're not just adopting a dog, you're adopting whatever came with that dog prior to you having them. And you always have to assume the worst. That's I hate to be the spoiler, but I always tell people you gotta assume the worst. That this dog had a tough time prior to you. What are some things that a new adoptee should really think about before going out there and pulling the trigger on adopting a dog from a shelter?
Well, it's about a relationship, and here at Paws Humane Society, we do such an incredible job creating that relationship. And because of COVID, it's actually allowed us to create a better relationship with that family. So we're making sure that we're matching the right family with the right dog. And so when you think about adopting a dog, you have to think about how much money do you have? Can you care for the pet? Can you provide the vaccinations?
Yes.
Does that dog have orthopedic issues? Is that dog going to need to be on an Apoquel and skin? Does he have dermatology issues? Does he have skin disorders?
Trish, can I jump in there real fast? I gotta just pause you real fast because dogs aren't cheap because a medical one because Chanel, what did you have a Chanel? What medical bill did you have with Bentley? That came.
It was like getting him a checkup. It was almost like $300, and we were in there all of like 10 minutes. I'm like, I could have done that a little tap here, a little tap there, pulling on the leg. I'm like, $300 for just a checkup? No way.
Trish, can you talk about, because sometimes people have sticker shock with the dogs, and especially now in COVID, at least here in Chicago, vets have increased the prices because it's all curbside. And they're limited in how many dogs they can see, so some of the prices have gone up. So, can you talk about some of the sticker shock? Because you're getting a brand new dog, some of the costs that are involved.
All of the shots and everything.
Yeah,
that's expensive.
I can't speak to the veterinary community, and I was with the Chicago Veterinary Medical Association, and I can't imagine that they've increased the price because of COVID. I just can't, because we're doing curbside service here. So, I mean, the veterinary community is my family, such a respectful profession, and making sure, because I'm not a veterinarian, you're not a veterinarian. And so making sure that you see your veterinarian is so important. We think that we know things, but they've gone enormous amount of school. So I want to say that, number one. Number two, sticker shock. I think we're in Columbus, Georgia, and I think that any shelter, there's always a conversation that we have with that pet owner that says, okay, they get their first set of shots here with our veterinary clinic, but there's always follow-up visits. How much is Tricart going to cost? How much is Bravecto going to cost? Even though we're a low-cost clinic here, there's still an amount of money that has to go into it. So I think, what we do here at Paws Humane Society, we had an incident on Friday where a woman had to get orthopedic surgery, and there was a price tag on that. So what we did was I went around and contacted people and raised money so she could get the surgery that she needed. She had a certain amount of money that she had pulled together, but there is a cost. I mean, Toriano, there is a cost associated with the dog. You've got food. I mean, food's expensive. I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, and people, I think also what people forget about is that they think, well, I'm going to go in on and spontaneous decision. A dog should never be a spontaneous decision, in my opinion. A dog should be a well thought out decision, because that dog is going to be with you from anywhere, depending upon the breed of the dog, anywhere from 9 up to 18 years. So you've got to think about that. And this is a long-term, this is a child into your family. And there was a study out from the American Animal Hospital Association years ago that say that according to their surveys, that people spend more time selecting maybe a refrigerator or an appliance than they do a dog, because oftentimes, I mean, think about the Disney movies, or think about, the Marley movies, or whatever those movies are. Oh my God, I want that dog, or I want the dog of the moment, or the breed of the moment, or they see a Charter commercial, oh, I want that dog because it's got a black, and you don't know, does that dog have, how is it with children? How is it around, your family? Do you have an apartment? Do you have a yard? What is your situation? Are you going to work at, 8 o'clock in the morning and you're not coming home till 6 p.m.? That's not that you there. Think about the length of time and the mentality and the physical that they need, as well as bathroom breaks. I mean, those are all things I don't think that people think about. And so for us, it's an education. I think for shelters around the world, it's an education. But I will say this on behalf of PAWS, relationships have improved with people. Our rate of returns have gone way down because we're spending more time with those people now. And also, when our dogs go up north, they've already got a forever home. When we do our transport and that, embarking on a new journey, they've already got a forever home, and those people have already been vetted for these animals. And so it is a lifelong decision. And I think people need to be reminded of that it is a lifelong decision.
So some people, to go along with that, some people now have been a little pessimistic about, that's great, all these dogs are getting adopted, because I've never seen as many dogs in my life adopted and purchased. There's certain dogs we can't even find right now, like are not even available. Do you think, and we can't, if you have in your crystal ball, do you see 2021 increasing with the adoption purchase rate, or do you see it like flatlining out?
I think dogs are becoming more trendy nowadays too. They're trending more.
I would say if you look at any market watch, if you look at any entrepreneur, if you look at any kind of things such as stocks, things like that, pet industry in any recession, the pet industry has always gone up. It's never gone down. So they're actually predicting right now, according to Market Watch and some other, just like in Entrepreneur Magazine and some other, like in the New York Times, adoption is going to be up 4.4% next year.
Wow!
And the pet industry, if you look at some of those trends on point, Ron Coughlin had a great interview on CNBC, I think it was, and talked about pet spending right now is really at an all-time high, because I will tell you this, being here in this area, there are times that people cannot afford to put food in their own mouths, but they'll put food in their dogs' mouths.
Yep.
And that's where our dogs, because they're family and people don't have anything. And so they're doing everything that they can to make sure that their dog is cared for, that their dog is taken care of. And it's so phenomenal to see that right now, and having those animals in the home and staying in those homes as well.
I love that. And I knew the answer to that. I just love hearing it, because like right now, people are training their dogs more. People are realizing like, hey, this is a part of my family member, because they're at home. So they're staring at the dog all day now versus wake up in the morning, walk them, go to work and come back. They know that dogs have to be better behaved for Zoom calls now, especially people that have corporate calls and that are on the phone all day. The dog can't be barking. They're realizing that, hey, this dog might have to protect me too, because unfortunately, crime is real. There was a wave of looting this early morning Chicago, looting all throughout the city. So your dog might have to protect you. Your dog might have to be there to comfort you in case you do get God forbid you get quarantined. But if you're stuck in your house because you found out you just got COVID, people are really leaning on their dogs right now. My question for you, to go back into that crystal ball, do you see people then getting to a point where, hey, this canine is actually now developing skills to search out COVID? Because I know that they want to use dogs for COVID, and we've used dogs for seizures and earthquakes and things of that nature. Like, looking at your crystal ball, because just real fast, dogs were super instrumental with 9/11. I think some people don't realize how instrumental dogs were for 9/11. With the searching out body and Hurricane Katrina. Here's something that's bigger than any of those. Where do you see dogs fitting in with COVID specifically, as far as a new skill set?
Well, there was just something that came out that actually dogs are able to sense COVID now more than some tests are. So there's now COVID sniffing dogs out there. So it's an incredible study that was just done. And so they've done the actual research. So there are dogs out there that are able to detect COVID in people. So that just came out. I think that COVID, this pandemic, has brought out a sense of fear in people. I think that our dogs are acting more and more as comfort. I think that they're going to increase that. But I also think that eventually, first of all, we've never stopped. I have not taken a day off since December 2nd.
Wow.
So our job never stops because we're essential workers. But I will say that eventually people are going to go back to work. And I would say that dog is going to be an essential part of the workforce. And I would say from taking your dog to work more and more from the offices, I think you're going to be seeing that more and more, more than ever. And I think that now that the executives have been at home with their dogs and these C-suite, whatever it is, people they're realizing how much support their dogs provided to them. So you're going to see when things start to really open up. I'm hoping that it's going to be soon. That you're going to see more dogs part of the workforce because dogs, they're engaging us more. They're actually creating more social. We're getting more work done. They're keeping us calmer. They're taking stress out of our day-to-day, busy lifestyle to where you can put your hand on your dog. And my level of serotonin increases, my calmness comes, my stress level, and plus having a dog at work means I'm actually getting up from my desk instead of just being glued to my desk all day. I'm actually taking the time to get a breath of fresh air, to go outside, walk with it, and that's so important. So again, that health and wellness. So, but I also think there's going to be we have to be prepared for a separation anxiety because if you are a factory worker, if you are something like that, and you may not be able to take your dog to work, and you've been alone or at home with your dog since February 15th, you have to be prepared now that your dog may experience that separation anxiety. And what are you going to do? You know, those things that you can do to help ease that, whether it's sleeping in article of clothing, put on a dog TV, put on a noise machine, whatever you need to do, and making sure to check in on that dog as well.
Tricia, I want to go back to what and I'm glad I asked you that question because I felt like I was fumbling around with it when asking how are dogs going to be a part of COVID. Like 9/11, we needed cadaver dogs, hardcore. In fact, we still don't have enough dogs. So many dogs were lost from 9/11. Hurricane Katrina, we needed more cadaver dogs. 9/11 also too, we needed bomb dogs. So we knew that the dog was truly, we need more dogs. Now you mentioned something really that gave me shivers in my spine that we're going to go back to work eventually. You know that. We just don't know when, but that's going to happen. You are going back to work one day. But I totally agree because in Europe, people bring their dogs to work. There's not too many places where a dog can't go. So that would be so amazing, a person working in corporate Target and their dog's under their desk. Because as you said, it forces a person to get up. You have to take that break. You get the bad phone call, you're petting your dog because it's increasing, it's decreasing your respiration rate, your heart rate. They've done studies of this. That is just so on point. I just want to add to that dogs are, you go back to the history of man, wolf and caveman. Dogs were for hunting. Native Americans, dogs would alert someone that they were coming to, the camp. Dogs with looking for truffles or looking for livestock. American bulldogs or farm dogs to keep hogs. I mean, dogs are essential parts of our community that we really need to lean on them more. And it's just so awesome that you made that comment. Let me ask you this: we're going back into that crystal ball. What do you see? Because you were here rocking in Chicago, hardcore. You're rocking down there in Georgia, hardcore. What do you see? What's your ultimate? If you can wave your magic wand over the country as far as the dog industry as a whole, what would you see the future of the dog industry? Because you're an expert in this. You have so much experience.
I would love to see more education. I really would like to see more education about pet ownership. I would love to have people understand the responsibility of a dog. I think in the South, there is the different mentality here from a standpoint of ownership of dogs. Where in the North, dogs are family. In the South, they're sometimes considered property. And that's something that we're trying to overcome here. I would like to really look at things and have that spay neuter and have a complete, that spay and neuter your dogs and having that as a mandate, that there wasn't, that overpopulation of dogs as well, dogs and cats, because it's a concern. I think that from a standpoint of just having dogs as a Mars, if we could have the entire USA as like a Mars better cities for pets, I'd love to see that, to see more pet-friendly restaurants.
Yes.
To see more places that we can take our dogs.
Yes.
To see different locations, to see the workplace to go, dogs are welcome, that they are so a part of us. And I think that more and more, and especially, COVID could be looked at as a blessing almost, because I think now people are recognizing that more and more. And then also from the economy standpoint, that if you drew more pets into things, I think that, I vote Dogs 2020 for president. I'm out there. I'm nominating Moose, my dog, for president. So, I think the dogs can save the world. I really do.
I really do too. I mean, and I in my book, The Wolfkeeper, I said a dog nation because we know there's 45 million registered dog owners. That doesn't even include the person who doesn't have. Yeah. We know there's 45 million just in the U.S. alone registered dog owners. 45 million people could decide who becomes the president if they all came together. And especially if they banded together, because dogs, like you said, and I love hearing it, even though I knew the answer to it, we're the only industry that goes up in a pandemic for sure. Like every time there's a crisis, like right now, people want dogs. They want to train their dogs, want to live better with their dogs. Let me ask you this: Would you be against following what Zurich, Switzerland has some of the most strict dog laws in the world? Where they just lightened up on it. At first, it was where once you get a dog, before you have a dog, you have to take a basic test, like a driver's test, to prove that you can have this dog. They dropped that part, which I thought that was pretty cool. They had it, but they still do have in place mandatory dog training. Just like how there's a rabies tag, you must have your dog must be trained by a certified dog trainer. Would you be against certified dog trainers in the United States of America, like where they're licensed as a federal mandate like there is in Switzerland? And then if you are for that, would you be for mandatory dog training?
I think that that's a loaded question. So I think that would be an amazing thing. I think that you have to look at the dog training of whether it's CCT, IAABC, just dog training specifications, people that, that really practice positive reinforcement, those kind of things. I think that's so important. I know you guys at university as well. So I think there's just different, I think training your dog is imperative. I think that in order to have a dog, it is a responsibility, just similar to our children. We potty train our children. We make sure that we're giving them the best guidance and wisdom that we can. We need to impart that on our dogs as well. And I think that if you could do that, that would be a beautiful, beautiful thing. Absolutely.
Would you be for federal law mandating dog training?
I think that the onus would be on the owner itself. I think that it would be amazing if that could happen, Triano. But I think if I look at things that have federal mandates, I think sometimes that that you'd want it to get done, but would it get done, and would people find? And the U.S., I think that if you look at right now what's going on with COVID and all the different states and all their different laws and all these different things, could you accomplish that? Would I support it? Absolutely. And I think that would be absolutely amazing to do, because it would be something that people were provided the proper knowledge. And I think that education is key. We go back to that education, that education is key.
And I love that you keep bringing up education, because a lot of times people, they get a dog and they're like, I had a dog back when I was 5 years old. What more is there to know about owning a dog? You know, and I always tell people, my mom's a school teacher. There's certain things I don't know how to teach a 5-year-old how to read. I mean, I know there's techniques for that. There's techniques that
Right.
they know developmentally where that 5-year-old should be. I know developmentally where that 8-week-old puppy should be. So I love that you keep reinforcing education. Now you're a dog mom, right?
I am a dog mom.
You're a dog mom of a bully breed. Can you talk, because there's so many people out there that have so many misconceptions of bully breeds. They have probably some of the worst PR out there of all dogs, and they're some of the sweetest dogs. In fact, you're more likely to get bit by the golden retriever or a small dog than I tell people, in a bully breed. Statistic, when you look at the stats, they're just not reported all the time. What are some, because you own one, you live with one. I saw him earlier. He was playing in your office, hanging out, relaxing, and he's a big dog. He's an intimidating. You have a dog. You don't have a small. That's a for real dog, and he looks scary to someone that doesn't know the breed. What are some? Can you tell people some of the just misconceptions and just make people feel calm about why they should feel okay around that type of breed?
Sure. I go back to a statement that was made moons ago. It's the deed, not the breed. And that was something I believe in. I think that Steve Dale talked about, and AKC. We mandated it at Chicago Veterinary Medical Association because if you at it, you have to look at things from a standpoint of it. It's like interracial profiling. Let's just put that out there. Yeah. Because if you look at me and say, okay, she's got these characteristics because she's blonde and she's got or whatever. You look at a pit bull and you're gonna automatically go, oh my gosh, he's gonna be mean, he's gonna bite me. That's not the case. I think it's all in the training of the dog. That moose is the most gentle creature known to man. His legs go out the wrong way. He slobbers and drools. He farts, but I love him to death. And and I think there's a misconception because of the bully breed that it is that they are mean dogs and perceived as mean, that they're not. Again, it's the owners or we who determine that inside them. This is my second pit bull. I had Zeus, who's up in the corner of the 3D little thing up there. He passed away of Cushing last year. And he was the most gentle, smartest, incredible dog that I ever had in my life. And Moose is not the smartest, a little bit stubborn, but he's still my love.
And I love that you said that, because it is a real thing, like racial profiling, because if someone sees me with my crazy hair and my crazy clothing, black guy walking down the street, and here's Tricia Montgomery, blonde, blue-eyed, walking down the street, and you have these stereotypes, of like, oh my God, I'm going to get robbed, or oh my God, when in actuality, you're the person that robs the person. No one's expecting that, versus me. Same thing with the pit bull. People think that, oh my God, they see if people saw your dog, they might be crossing the street, when in actuality, it's the Labrador, because Labradors are hunting, or like these doodles. There's been so many doodle attacks. I'm like, yeah, you bred 2 hunting dogs. Poodles are French police dogs. He took a golden retriever that's a hunting dog, or a Labrador that's a hunting dog, and you combine them together. You shouldn't be shocked that he bit, but there's so many misconceptions that are out there. Can you, why do you think then too, because a lot of times our shelters are just plagued with bully breeds, because people go there when they're like this, everybody wants one. Then they get to 5 months, 8 months, a year, and they get kicked out. What would you say to someone that's going to get a brand new little bully breed this size? What are some things don't do before you decide to get one?
I think that's a great question. So in terms of getting a puppy, or whatever it is, a bully breed puppy, again, you have to go through those basic questions that you're going to ask yourself. That when you're adopting a dog, is this dog right for me? Is this dog right for my family? Do I have children? Am I willing to train my dog? Do I have the time to put in this dog Or am I going to stick it in the backyard and hope that they play with it? I think there is a responsibility always that goes around when you're getting whether it's a senior dog, whether it's a mid-sized dog, whatever kind of dog it is. But I think there is a training that has to go through with that from the standpoint of social. I want to be able to take my dog out and have them around other dogs. I want to make sure that when a child puts their hand on my dog, that he's not going to snap. So those are all things that you have to do from a standpoint of training your dog. And that's making sure the human has to first be trained.
Absolutely.
We're the ones who has to be trained first, not the dog, because if we're not trained, we can't train our dog. So we have to be the ones to say, I'm going to take the responsibility. I'm going to make sure. But again, I think all those things that you have to look at from the standpoint of how big is the dog? Is it right fit for your family? Is that
Right.
dog that you're adopting, is it good with children? Because we do get dogs into the shelter, and we know if they're we have
Yep.
background on them. We know that they may not be good with children. We're not going to adopt that dog out to a family with a child, because that is not something that would be, it would be a setup for failure. And we want to set up anyone who comes into our shelter as a success story. So it's making sure that we're pairing that animal right, but it's always understanding that here are the things that you need to do. We have two of our trainers, our director of animal care and our director of admissions and adoptions, Bree Mitchell and Courtney Pierce. They're going for a complete certification now for animal behavior and certification in animal behavior, because we always want to set the standard of excellence.
Right.
And that is increasing your knowledge and your standards, and what we turn out here is going to be representative in our community and those homes.
And you know what you made me think about too is that, do you get people that come in there and I'm just going to pick on the guys for a second there. They want that dog. This dog's going to be a big old whatever, bulldog, bully, Cane Corso, mastiff. And then you're looking at the wife and you're like, she does not want this dog. Because I know a lot of times I call it the dog smuggling, where guys will go and smuggle some dog in and the wife's like, great, I have one more project. And then the wife ends up taking care of this dog, or sometimes the guy wants this big old.
Divorce.
Right. You see the divorce coming. But do you get that when you're dealing with people that you're like, I can't adopt this dog out to you because everyone's not on board? Do you get that in there?
We do, and we actually we have instances where a family will come in and they'll see a dog on the website and they'll say, we want that dog. We always do meet and greet, so we have even virtual home visits where we go when we're fostering dogs to make sure that the home is appropriate for the dog too.
Right.
And so it's always very important that you meet with that family, because we will have times where that dog is not the right fit for the family, and you'll have to say to that, one of our adoptions counselors will have to say to them, this is not the right fit for you, but I've got Molly in the back, and let's look at Molly. And it's all in the education. Again, go back to education. So it's all in the education. So if I'm educating you on the reasons why this may not be the best fit for your dog, but hey, I've got another dog over here that's going to be the right fit, then that they understand. There are some people that may not ever get it because they have that heart set on that dog. But it's just really, you want to be able to pair the right family with the right pet.
Is that just hard though? Is that hard telling? Because I'm always we selectively breed, and that's why I don't even, until like I have the dog trained, ready to go, I wait a long time before I know for sure if this is the family. Because sometimes people they'll see the dog and they've already said, this is my dog, and they've already bought things for the dog. And it's not even their dog. I've seen that with breeders. I've seen it with shelters. I've seen people go online and already say, that's my dog. I don't care what anyone says. And then they're like completely wrecked when they're like, what do you mean, Miss Montgomery? I've already named him. I bought him a bed. I bought him toys. Have you gotten people that just been devastated because the adoption didn't work? What do you do? What do you do for that? What do you,
you try to turn the situation around. You try to redirect into another animal, another dog that may be better suited for their family. Because with our shelter, we may have 5 applications on one dog, and we have to through those applications and select the right family.
Right.
And so we're going to select the right family based upon the applications that we receive, and that's a commitment. And so we have to let them know that, you know, the dog's not available anymore, but we have another dog that you might be interested in. I mean, obviously everybody wants puppies, and the thing about it is, they don't realize, well, I've got that puppy's really super cute at 8 and 10 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever it is, 12 weeks. Oh my God,
Right.
It's so cute. And then all of a sudden that puppy's gonna chew, that puppy's gonna, you know, it's gonna bark, it's gonna yip, it's
Right.
gonna run around, it's gonna, all these different things. The same as children. It's look at your stage from infancy out to toddler to teenager.
Amen.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing for our dogs,
Right.
and people don't realize. They're like, "Oh, I'm gonna get a puppy," and everything's just gonna be like a walk in the park. Wrong answer. It is not a walk in the park. Having a dog is not a walk in the park, and I think that if you make it when it's a walk in the park, I think that's when you get an older dog that might be trained already. That might when I adopted Zeus was trained.
Right.
I just like whoop, okay, and I didn't have to do a thing. So I think that you've got to understand that it's, again, go back to the education. They've got to understand the reason why this dog may not be the best fit, but let's talk about another dog that might be right for your family. And then often if you explain it like that, we never adopt a dog also if all family members are not there. Like a mom just can't come in and go, oh, I'm just going to adopt this dog for my family. We want to make sure that those family members are all on site so everyone can experience that dog, because you might have somebody that comes in with a child, she may be 2 or 3, and every time, you know, that she approaches the dog, she screams. And we've had that happen before. That's going to promote the dog to be a little bit tense and nervous. And so, again, it's all in the education and making sure that you're working with the family and creating those relationships.
And why I keep pushing on that particular question, because I know that you're not letting any dog out that isn't in the right family. But with bearing that crown comes heavy responsibility, because I know people get super sad when they've already made up their mind. But you guys are in a unique situation because obviously you're not a breeder, because sometimes breeders, a lot of these dogs end up in the shelter because somebody wasn't responsible when they allowed the person to have the dog in the first place. So here you are, you have to be the person that's like, no, this dog isn't right for you, but this one might be. And I commend you for that, because I know that's easier said than done.
We're really trying to, I mean, again, we're in the South. I'm in the South, and around us are a lot of towns that are doing the backyard breeding, that are breeding the dogs for money and for profit. That's just where we are. That happens. We're also in a store, in a location with a pet store that does sell dogs. We're trying to put a stop to that as well, because those dogs are coming from puppy mills, and so we want to make sure that we're trying to eliminate that as well. We're doing so in a manner that says, listen, let's work together. Let's start adopting our dogs, and we work with there's other amazing rescue organizations, Animal SOS, Animal Art Rescue. So we work with all of these organizations that are in our area, and we form a partnership and a coalition to work together to accomplish the greater good. And I think that's what we're doing, you know, with Columbus Animal Care Control. They've got an incredible interim executive director, Katrina. We work with Mayor Henderson here. One of his initiatives, we fit into one of his initiatives for 2020, as far as, you know, keeping violence and crime and keeping people safe and health and wellness. So I think it's working with your community and understanding the needs and the wants and the desires of those communities, and making sure that you're playing into those as well.
And I'm going to ask you this in closing. We just chewed up, no pun intended, almost an hour. And I want to say this.
I can talk forever.
I can listen to you forever, and I'm glad. I know how busy you are. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a big deal, because I know you are busy, and it's already 1:00 down in the South, and you have tons, and it's Monday too. So, thank you for setting this show off properly.
It's Mutt Day. It's Mutt Day.
It's Mutt Day. I love it. It's Mutt Day. But your information is so powerful, because, and I'm so glad I got a chance to even talk to you in August, because so many people are adopting dogs right now, and I hope people go back and find information or have aha moments of like, I hadn't thought about that, and that they really should sit and talk before with the whole family and talk to, and don't go into the pet, the shelter just thinking you're going to get a dog right away. Go there almost even with the intent to talk to the pet counselors first, even before getting a dog. And I want to ask you, Miss Montgomery, going into 2021, we've asked each guest, we're putting them on the spot. Will you come back in January and talk to us and follow up?
I would love to talk to you and follow up. I would be most happy to talk to you guys and follow up with you and see where we are now versus then, and going into this is unprecedented right now, Brianna. We know this.
I know.
This has never happened in our lifetime, and
wow.
I look at things and just go, wow. Where are we going to be? Then I believe we're going to be stronger. I believe we're going to be more resilient, and I believe that from an animal standpoint and pet standpoint, they're going to be more important, more family members, more part of it, and our industry is only going to increase.
And
it's going to be more creative also.
Absolutely. Well, that's why I'm glad, because I'm bringing back all the August guests in the front of January, so we can look back at this interview in the January, because that's super exciting to see where we're going to be at the first of the year, because we have 5 more months to see what the animal, and that's the exciting thing, because the animal industry is really contributing, helping us get through COVID. Like, who would have, you and I knew that this day was coming for us to get off.
January.
Right. So we're going to see. So I really want to thank you so much for talking to us, and please go out there and also too exercise with your doggy. Like as you said, don't just sit around and let your dog eat snacks and Petcoin and Netflix and then chilling too much. Get your dog out there. Tricia Montgomery, thank you so much. Kiss Atlanta for me.
Tricia.
Well, not Atlanta.
It's amazing that you're here, Victoria. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for all the energy.
So when we get to Georgia, it's exciting. And again, we've got outstanding veterinary clinic. We've got a culture like really good going up to those neighborhoods as well.
Safe humane, that's great work.
Being able to really just make sure you're keeping safe in this town.
Thank you all so much. I'm Toriano Sanzoni with my co-host Chanelli Nell. And for Rejoice and Love and the entire team, remember, there's only one alpha dog, and that's you. Use your alpha dog energy and go out and love somebody. Peace and love. Thank y'all.
Thank you so much, Tricia. Peace and love.